Greetings everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your host Captain Ryan. Today's YouTube video is a little bit different for you. This is going to be another subscriber submitted replay. So maybe not that different then after all. The subscriber is CLBB and he is in his North Carolina. And he is going to be playing the hell out of it and doing actually a pretty ridiculously good job in this battle, which makes the end result all that much more of a shame. Two brothers, once again, this map seems to be popping up in rotation for nearly everybody these days, and it's domination match mode, which makes it at the very least playable. As the battle gets started here, our hero CLBB is heading towards the D capture point. And hopefully, he'll be able to take it pretty much uncontested. He's got Nagato up there in the distance, and of course there are enemy aircraft already coming in. And looking at the situation, it's looking like there is an enemy destroyer sitting in the decap point. Still though, North Carolina, not a bad ship for pushing up aggressively in any map situation. It's got reasonable speed if you're angled like he is. It's got really good armor for that. Though, once you get enclosed into that close range engagement situation, you really run into problems dealing with especially German battleships. Because their guns will start causing massive amounts of regular penetration damage, and of course, their secondaries outrange yours and do a lot more damage. He's taking fire in there from a multitude of ships, and it's kind of to be expected. He is the most forward battleship and is a nice big target to shoot at. But it's not going to stop him from pushing up anyway. He's got a Mogami out there, broadside on, and moving quite slow. Enemy team secures the first blood by destroying one of their destroyers. That now puts them at a disadvantage with destroyers, and that destroyer disadvantage is going to come in to play. He's taking a big ol' hit there, manages to get set on fire again, but punishes the Mogami for his continued insistence on sailing broadside on to a battleship. As they always say, broadside onto a battleship, that's a paddling. He's turning away here, trying to avoid those incoming torpedoes. It looks like he's going to be able to do it. Like all the U.S. battleships, with the exception of the Iowa and the Montana, the rudder shift time and turning circle of the ship is not that bad, so you can achieve this kind of very quick turn. The other friendly destroyer up there, he's pretty low health as well, and this could be a pretty massive problem if he gets detected and they lose out on him as well. Torpedoes manage to run out of steam before they hit our hero, which is a good thing, but he's now kind of stuck at a position he can't really turn. If he tries to turn, the ass end of his ship is just going to run aground. Manages to citadel the Nagato that's sitting in the smokescreen, and of course there's a second one up there that's broadside onto him. The guns on this ship might not necessarily be the best in the world, but they certainly do put out a lot of punishment. At this point, looking at the situation, the teams are pretty equal. Both teams have managed to capture one cap point. Both teams are down one ship, though our hero's team should technically be up on points, just barely, due to the fact that they've only lost a destroyer, while the enemy team lost a cruiser, which is worth more points. I'm going to try and get more shots out of the enemy cruiser, maybe with any luck, though the dispersion doesn't look good, and of course the cruiser did turn away, so all of his shots managed to miss. If you're playing in a cruiser and you don't know how to deal with battleships, that's the biggest thing that you can do. You've got a really fast rudder shift time and your ships are relatively narrow. If you can swing your ship around, you can usually dodge most of the incoming fire from ranges beyond 15 kilometers. Unless, of course, you're like Mogami at the beginning, who was pretty much broadside on and moving at a snail's pace. Yeah, don't do that. Life lesson learned. Their team has now managed to lose another ship, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, as there's a lot of low health ships back over here for our hero to shoot at. Specifically, there's a friendly enemy cruiser who's decided to go ahead and poke his nose around the corner here. CLBB's getting shots out at him. Looks like the cruiser, though, is going to stop and turn around, and he's at a pretty massive angle. But it doesn't matter, he manages to hit him for regular penetrations and drops that guy so low health. RNGesus, why do you do this to people? God, just give him the kill. Put the poor man out of his misery. Of course, it'd be even funnier if he was sailing in the Missouri. He fires off a set there, rear guns, trying to get that cruiser before he disappears behind the island. Unfortunately, not enough, as the cruiser does disappear behind the island and saves his ass. Just barely for now, though. Cruiser, not high enough to have repairability. So he's got to take it very carefully, or he's going to find himself getting offed very quickly. Enemy aircraft carrier is putting his planes where they're needed most, trying to deal death blow damage to the friendly destroyer up there. Of course, if you're a carrier and you can take out a destroyer, it's worth even more. One of the enemy destroyers has popped up. He's incredibly low health. Can our hero get on target? Come on, super low health, finish him off. Nope, his shots fired just too late to finish off that Benson, who gets offed by somebody else. Fire shots out at the incredibly low health cruiser. Can he secure the kill on that guy? It's kind of hard there to tell whether he was coming or going, but he does aim them true and manages to finish him off. Now you'll notice that there is a cyclone active, and of course the sound that you heard earlier was the cyclone warning. So this could go well for his team, or it could go very, very badly for his team. He's managing to get shots off just there past the island, but he's not doing any citadels to the enemy battleship that's poked its nose around. However, he is in a good tactical position as the battleship continues around the corner. Our hero is disappearing behind the island while the enemy is moving out from it. I've been in this situation, and it's really, really difficult to try and get your guns pointed at an enemy that's behind the damn island. He's got the Nagato targeted out there in the distance. Can he get the kill on him? Almost manages to get a citadel. There's his high caliber, but he doesn't manage to kill the Nagato. That is so disappointing, especially when it's so low health. This is now twice RNGesus has done this to him and left an enemy he's been shooting at on incredibly low health. The teams are still fairly equal, and this matchup could go anyone's direction at this point. Can he land shots on that Nagato? He should be able to, just right over the island there. Come on, get your shots out. Unfortunately, Nagato has dropped off detectability, so nobody can see him now.
Torpedoes, direct front.
Enemy destroyer is still about there, and he's still putting torpedoes into the water. And in a cyclone situation, this could honestly be really, really bad, especially if you were dealing with a Japanese destroyer. The enemy team has completely dominated the entire other side of the map at this point, and they're going to start sailing around and flank back to D. As you can see, they're already capping the C cap point. Manages to nail a triple citadel, and there's his Confederate on the enemy cruiser up there, who's popped his smoke screen. But now he's got to be careful here. Obviously, it's a British cruiser, so that cruiser, well, you can't set him on fire. He does have torpedoes, and he's a maneuverable and fast little bugger. So he's pushing up into the smoke area. With any luck, he'll be able to get proximity detection on him. Fires speculative shots in there. Enemy aircraft are coming in. They're spotting him for the cruiser, and they are setting him on fire. However, they don't actually manage to set him on fire in the first attack. But now he's broadside onto this cruiser, trying to get behind the island. The only saving grace here is that the enemy can't get torpedoes on him due to that rocky landmass. Again, it takes more speculative shots over the top of the island into that smokescreen trying to get him. There's the enemy cruiser has come around and hits his back end for some moderate damage. His guns are just barely clearing, but CLBB's guns don't quite manage to clear the island, and they don't actually manage to do much damage to him. That's really disappointing. He's now incredibly low health, and this cruiser just has to keep up that rate of fire. Rear shot's out. Can he finish him off? Come on. There it is. Saves his ass, but just barely. Just barely. He doesn't have a lot of health left, and at this point, he's only got a few heals, and it's on cooldown for a significant amount of time. The team's lists are still fairly equal, but the enemy team now controls 3 caps.
The enemy is about to win.
And there's not too much that he's going to be able to do about any of it if you look at the positioning of the rest of his teammates. Keep in mind, the cyclone's still going on, so there's only an 8-kilometer detection range and visibility range, which means the friendly ships that are back behind him and all the way over at the border aren't going to be able to provide support fire for him, even if they do manage to spot these ships. This is really, really a bad situation, and they've just lost a ship, and the enemy team is now well up, and they are on track to win this through points. So the enemy team is going to push up, of course, and they are going to try and take all of the cap objectives. And at this point, there's not a lot that is going to be able to prevent them from winning. As you can see, they have a mostly full-strength battleship coming in there, and he's bow on, and he's shooting at our hero. Looking at the situation, pretty much I'm going to be doing the same thing that our hero is doing in the battle, which is I'm going to push up and try and delay the inevitable as long as possible. At the very least, I might as well go for as much damage output as possible, even if it is a loss. Battleship up there, he's going to provide a very angled location, and I'd actually be kind of concerned that he's getting ready to torpedo me. Looking at the ships that have popped up there, there's an incredibly low health destroyer up there, and this is where I think our hero made a minor miscalculation. He's going to shoot the battleship behind the destroyer. Instead, I would shoot the destroyer, because the destroyer's got torpedoes, and all of the overpenetrations from your main guns would kill him. But instead, he goes for damage done to the battleship behind him as he passes very close to the enemy battleship, and he's getting wrecked through secondaries. Enemy team, at this point, they only need one more kill in order to secure victory, and it looks like it's going to be our hero who's going to meet his end. There it is, a defeat, but a very hard-fought defeat. CLBB manages to get a 236,000 damage game and over 500,000 credits from a defeat. He does have his Confederate and his high caliber. Games like these absolutely crushing when you're so high up on the team for XP earned, well over 1,000 base XP, and nobody else on his team even comes close. That's even worse when you think about that situation. Hell, he's got 1,000 more base XP than the next nearest guy on his team and almost scored 2,000 base XP on a defeat. You know, if he'd managed to pull off a victory there, it would have been one of the most epic things you've ever seen. Anyway, that's it for today's video, folks. If you liked the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. If you'd like to get semi-regular channel news and updates, I encourage you to like and follow me on Facebook. I'm pretty actively posting there throughout the week and engaging my subscribers who are there. If you'd like to help support me and my channel, you can do so by visiting my Patreon and donating there. If you'd like to watch me play World of Warships live, I encourage you to go to my Twitch account and follow me on Twitch. I do occasionally do live streaming stuff, though I'm taking a bit of a break for the holiday season. And if you've got a replay like this one that you'd like me to feature on my channel, you can do so by emailing it to me, PMing me the link via YouTube, or messaging me on Facebook. And as always, you can find the links for all of those in the video description down below. I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.